we kind of talk as a family, and I tell them, when I'm coming forward and I'm telling all of this, it's not because we don't want to pay for what you have, and it's not because we want you to feel guilty. It's not your fault. We're not trying to, and it's hard. Like I said, it's really hard to tell people, hey, we're, you know, we're collapsing here. It's humbling, but God wants us to humble ourselves. If we don't come forward and tell people, look, this is where we're at, how are we ever going to change? If nobody says anything, if nobody says this is what Obamacare is doing to us, we are really on the brink of disaster here. You know, you can't. And it's so many dynamics in that, because you feel, like I said, even coming forward, you don't want people to feel sorry for you. You don't want people to have pity on you, because what we're asking, and this is what I tell, what we're asking is for people to stand up against the government that is doing this to us. That's why we come forward, because we want more people to stand up, to push back against the government that's overreaching, to help us save our family. My name's Pattie Curran. I have 3 boys, 4 if you count my husband. But 2 of our boys have a rare genetic bone marrow failure syndrome called Shwachman-Diamond syndrome. And they also have secondary mitochondrial disease. So we spend a lot of time in the hospital, and we have an exorbitant amount of medical bills.
And so how often are you at a doctor's office or at a hospital?
Oh, well, at least weekly, at least once a week. I think the longest we've ever gone has been, I think 2, maybe 3 weeks. So we were hoping to go for 3 weeks this summer, but we ended up in the emergency room twice. So, but yeah, that's, I mean, so that's really, I mean, like this week we have 2 appointments. Next week we're going to Cincinnati Children's. We go up there because they have a bone marrow failure clinic, and that's an important part of our lives. We have you know, we really do live in the hospital. You're asking for the kind of overview of what goes on with our family. I mean, we're getting ready to go to immunology here in just a few minutes. He's the doctor that prescribes the blood product that he gets infused every week. So that's pretty. We try in between that. We try to do baseball and you know, football and different sports, but it's becoming increasingly harder because of the financial burden of Obamacare. I feel like we are soon going to be counted among America's poor, although we'll be with the working poor.
You've been covered by, it's a family insurance that's provided by your husband's employer, is that right?
Right, my husband's employer. And it's been, I mean, it's been wonderful. We've been with the same company for 9 years. We've not been denied any treatments, any medications until Obamacare. And then, you know, and that's what I'm, so from 2005 to 2010, when Obamacare passed, we had the same insurance, never had anything denied. I mean, it was amazing. And since Obamacare has passed, our co-pays have gone up, our deductibles, our premiums, out-of-pocket maxes, everything. Before Obamacare, we didn't have half the paperwork we have now. The only medication before Obamacare that we had to do any kind of paperwork or get approval for was the immunoglobulin, and that's because it's a blood product, and we have to get yearly approval for that. And currently I'm working on like 21 different medications. So there's this one that protects my son's kidneys from damage. He does not respond to the generic, so it's a name brand. It's the only name brand medication that they take. Prior to Obamacare, a 3-month supply of the name brand medication was $131. So we were shocked and horrified as it kept going up. It got up to $532. Well, all this time we were trying to get an exception, you know, filling out the right form, so forth and so on. And now we're up for renewal of that, which I still haven't, I mean, it's horrifying as a parent. You can't believe you're living in the United States of America, because if we don't get this exception, and I haven't heard back, it's going to cost us $708 for a 3-month supply. And how is that affordable when, I mean, before Obamacare, no paperwork, $131, 3-month supply, and now it's $708. And then with the other medications, they're compounded Mito cocktail meds, and they're not going to be covered as of next month. So
the medications that they take, you call it the Mito cocktail, is going to
right. That's what that's in the Mito community, and the Mito, they call it the Mito cocktail. So it's like ubiquinol, leucovorin, L-carnitine. Leucovorin and L-carnitine come in prescription form, but it's, if you get the type that's compounded, it's more easily absorbed, because sometimes with these, you know, medications. And then it can be different vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin E, the ubiquinol, alpha lipoic acid, acetylcysteine, these different things. Because like I said, there's no cure, there's no FDA approved medication for mitochondrial disease on the market. But these supplements all target the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells. And so, and it's in you have mitochondria in every cell of your body except for your red blood cells. But anyway, they don't produce the energy needed. So you can have brain issues, which Joseph has some. You can have muscle weakness, which, you know, the swallowing difficulty, the neurogenic bladder. You can get migraines. You know, Sean really suffers from the fatigue. Well, since starting the Mito cocktail, we've noticed a huge difference. Before Joseph started like the Neurontin for his neuropathies, he had daily pain, could hardly function. He would play football and the pain would be so bad that he would sit. He would play soccer, he would just come and sit, and not having the energy, you know, to do that. These really do enable them to have normal lives. Sean battles more chronic fatigue, and we still don't know. God, it's kind of a work in progress, because we're still working on trying to help him more. But his energy level, you know, it's amazing, because he'll play baseball, and my kids are tough. I mean, they really are tough, because they will battle through all this. But through, like, the glycosade we'll do an extra dose of the Mito cocktail before they exercise, before they, you know, play games, and that really, it's changed their lives. They're doing things that we never thought would be possible. I remember one year, and this is before the Mito cocktail, we were in Virginia at the time, and it snowed. And two of them were outside building a snowman, and Sean, he could hardly move. And I said, "Don't you want to go build a snowman?" No, I'm too tired. And he went up to the window, and he pulled a chair up to the window where he could see his brothers building a snowman, and he just kind of laid there. And it was so sad to see that. And I know that if they don't have these, it'll go back. And not just the other, you know, like I said, the organ function and all of that. So this is just what Sean takes in the morning. I put them in Ziploc bags because they don't really fit. So you can see that's the pills that he takes in the morning. And then he's got some medications that are PRN as needed for his migraines that aren't in here, but that's just...
And that's once a day, that bag?
That's the morning. And then these are his pills that he takes at night. And then he also takes glycosade, which he mixes with water. It's a long-acting starch that keeps him. So that's Sean's. These are Joseph's morning pills. So he takes. And you can see, like, the Neurotins right there. And these, the ones that you don't see any markings on, those are the compounded ones. And then these are his night pills. And so you can see there's quite a few medications. So, and like these are, some of them are prescribed, like for his asthma, reflux. You know, this is Neurontin for his. He has neuropathies, and so he has neuropathic pain because the nerves don't function, and when they start breaking down, it causes pain. And then, you know, so that's a lot. That's a lot, isn't it? So these are 11 letters that I received. So this one was just received this week, I think Monday, maybe Tuesday. So it's dated August 8th. The rest of them are July 14th. And each one of these letters states that one part of their Mito cocktail will not be covered. And it says, we want you to know about an important change coming to your prescription drug coverage on 9/15/2014. As of this date, your prescription benefit will no longer cover prescriptions for compounded medications, including the following. And then it goes on to list 20, each of these letters, and it goes on to list the 20 different things that they get in those meds. So, yeah, it's rather shocking. They're forcing insurance companies out of business. This is a cost-cutting measure. I think somewhere I posted an article about this because they talk about it, Express Scripts, and there are other companies that talk about it. They're doing this to save money. And why are they needing to save more money when these have been covered for years and years and years? It's only one reason, Obamacare.
Is it certain mandates are making it unaffordable for them?
Oh, absolutely. We received a letter last year before open enrollment stating that because of the Affordable Care Act, that their costs for health care were going to increase by $7.4 million. Obamacare is trying to destroy the American system of medicine that we have. I mean, basically, they want to get it to a one-payer system. If they can get these insurance companies to fail, then we will have what their goal. I mean, we already know Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, Obama. They've all talked about how this was the way to get to a one-payer system, and so it's government-controlled health care. We're hoping, or not more than hoping, we're praying that we will continue to have employer-based benefits. If we get dumped, because I'd love to stick it to the man and not join Obamacare, but unfortunately with my kids' medical conditions, we have no choice. We'd have to join an Obamacare exchange, even though it would be substandard care. I mean, it's horrifying. You really need to, if you've not looked, go to the Blue Cross Blue Shield website. It's not the Obamacare website, and just look at the plans and what they cover. For the $1,700 a month plan, it's like $1,706. That's the premium plan. You have a more open, I don't know what they call it, where you can go to more physicians or whatever. And none of our current specialists in Shwachman-Diamond syndrome or mitochondrial disease is on that plan. So we would, for $1,700 a month. The lower plans with the limited doctors, I mean, we would basically be stuck here in the state of North Carolina. And why is this important? A lot of people need to understand this. If you don't have sick kids, or you don't have somebody with a cancer that's a rare type of cancer or whatever, if my children need a bone marrow transplant, their chances here in the state of North Carolina of surviving, 50%. Because that's basically what it is if you just go to any transplant center across the country. If you can go to Seattle Children's, or if you can go to Cincinnati Children's, you increase your chances of survival to like 90 to somewhere in the 90% range. You know, and so where would you want to bring your child? Who wouldn't want to go to Cincinnati or Seattle if that's where you have the best chance? Well, we would be denied, and that's why I tell people that my kids will literally be denied life-saving treatments.
When your doctor wrote a letter, was that to your current insurance
Yes,
carrier?
to the insurance, to the pharmacy benefits portion of our insurance carrier. He wrote a letter to them because we're trying to get it covered and trying to get medical necessity. To whom it may concern, I'm writing on behalf of my patient, my son. I diagnosed with mitochondrial disease. As a primary mitochondrial disease specialist, it is my opinion that without this compound, Joseph's muscle and organ function would decline significantly, resulting in the life-threatening progression of his disease, a well-known part of the natural course of mitochondrial disease, and subsequent extended hospital stays. If insurance company coverage for the compounded vitamins is denied, Joseph may develop neurodegenerative symptoms which can result in death, as seen in mitochondrial disease. And he wrote one similar for my other son. So that right there, I mean, there's no cure for mitochondrial disease. The only treatment that we have are these high-dose supplements. And this isn't just like, witchcraft or, hocus pocus. We actually do blood tests where they test the leukocyte CoQ10 levels in their bloodstream. So they do a blood draw, and then they look at the white blood cells and see what the CoQ10 level is. And so then we target. So if it's not high enough, then we increase the dose. If it's too high, then they'll decrease the dose. So far, we've never been too high. But, so these are very important supplements. As you can see by his letter, I mean.
He indicated in his letter that if your son quit the medications that he was taking, that he would die.
Right.
What did you think when you read that?
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to face the reality, but we know that it can progress. Even with these, it can progress. Just it would be a more slow progression, and it's hard. I mean, because Shwachman-Diamond syndrome is also a disease that has a high mortality rate. They develop leukemia and whatnot. So I guess I go on a faith-based answer. We just trust that God has a plan, and we try not to think about that too often. And it's hard to see it in black and white, to see it in writing. I mean, I think it kind of took my breath away when I read it, because I thought, because the reality hits you in the face, because I think we spend so much of our time, we don't focus on that. I mean, we try to live normal lives, and when you see that and you realize, oh, that's right, that's why we're doing this. Because, because you go to the doctor, they tell you this, you do what you're supposed to, but you can't focus on that daily, so it is difficult.
So it was in 2010 that there was a real noticeable difference in prices for you?
In 2011, because the law passed in 2010, and so everything kind of stayed the same. Our premium stayed the same in 2011, but the one medication that I talked to you about was $131 prior to Obamacare. And this was for 4 or 5, 6 years maybe. I'm trying from 2005 to 2010, it was $131. Didn't have an increase. And then in 2011, it went up to $281.47. That was in 2011, and that's when we thought, wow. And then here you can see it's $343 and some change, and that's in 2012. And then here, $495.03. It goes up. And then in 2013, for the first time ever, in the middle of the year, it goes up to $532.12. And then around that time, we were able to get an exception, and they gave it to us at the generic copay. And so we're currently hoping, because I need to refill it, but I mean, I'm hoping that it'll come in time so we can get it. So we have a flex spending account, but remember Obamacare cut it from $5,000 to $2,500. Okay. And that money, this is money that comes out from our paycheck pre-tax, that goes into an account that's managed, the company manages it, that we can pay medical bills with.
Okay.
And so it's a tax savings. I mean, probably, I don't know, like $800 tax savings. Well, for the $5,000, you know what I mean? So that's like another $800 that we could be using for medical bills. So now it's $2,500. So these are our medical bills that we've paid for this year, not just what we've been billed, because we can't pay all of them. This is what we've paid after flex spending. So this, we have, I can tell you the number too. We have $16,339.89 in out-of-pocket medical already, and
that's for this year.
That's for this year. Yes, last year we had over $27,000, and so like this is what we had in flex spending, $2,500 in flex spending. Take them out, and this is the thing that drives me nuts, because Obamacare decreases our flex spending from $5,000 to $2,500. Who do you think that hurts? That hurts families like mine. I mean, $800 in tax savings, taking this out before taxes out of my husband's paycheck, that helps us to pay these bills that we can't afford either. And it's just, it will be nice to be able to have an affordable, affordable health care.
And did you feel like your health care plan was affordable prior to?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, $131, $708. I mean, it's to me, and then of course, $2,000. It was over $2,000 cheaper per year. The premiums were, so of course it was more affordable. Was it perfect? No, but we were happier with it. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to have a perfect system until we get stop all the government regulations and have a true free market.
And the cost increases that you have experienced since 2011, what kind of impact has that had just on your family and your living situation?
It's been, oh gosh, I'll start crying if I get into the details, but just to give you an example, in 2009, we had 0 credit card debt, 0. We now have over $60,000 in credit card debt, and it's medical, because we can't. $532. You've got to get the med. Who has $532 at the ready for this? I mean, can you buy an iPad every 3 months? I mean, that's what I tell. Plus, we have all the other medications. I mean, just the smaller copays add up as well. And we've stopped putting money into retirement. We have no college savings for our kids. It's that, and to me those are huge, because I think normal families want to put away, save for retirement. Who doesn't save? I mean, you know, realistically, if you have a decent job, my husband has a good job, he's paid well, we should be able to put some money away for retirement. And I think it's a shame that we've had to stop doing that. I think it's a shame that we're a middle class family and we cannot help our children with college at all. I mean, I say at all, but I mean, we can help a little bit. You know, usually it ends up like for Christmas, my oldest, his Christmas present were his books for the spring semester. But I mean, you know, I mean, it's $400 and something. So and that's about all that we can do. And so it really has, we've tried to cut back. I mean, I use generic food, you know, and it's kind of, I feel that's it. I mean, I shouldn't feel guilty when I get my hair cut. You know, I mean, how do you think, how many people that walk the face of the earth feel guilty because they go get their hair cut? I mean, those are the kind of things that it really impacts, because every penny you spend, you're thinking, okay, well, you know, this could go toward a medical bill. It's just, it really makes you feel guilty about even living life. When you look at what our bills, that's $2,000 a month. That's what I ask. I mean, how do you budget for $2,000 a month? How do you have more than half of your income, probably 2/3 of your income? How do you budget for that? I mean, like, so we've kind of gotten to the point where we really, I mean, yeah, we could live in a hut, but we'd not, I mean, you still wouldn't help, because that's how bad it is. It's so bad that it's insurmountable.
With all the increased costs, I mean, you know, they say money is like the #1 cause for divorce and things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Has it created tension?
Oh, absolutely. I really have to say, we would truly have been divorced long ago if God wasn't at the center, because it's very stressful. But you just get to that point where I just let him vent, he lets me vent, and because it's so overwhelming, and I just laugh because he'll probably kill me for saying this, but it's kind of funny. So he's talking about it, and he says, well, we had to pay for the Mito cocktail this month, and he goes, do we have that every month? I've noticed this, and I'm it's one of those moments where you're like, where have you been? It's like, it's month, and he's like, it kind of just hit him that this is like every month that we're paying these co-pays. Because, I mean, sometimes we have the flex, sometimes we put it on credit card because we just don't have the money, and sometimes we pay, you know, cash. We try to pay cash when we can. But I just thought that was so funny because it had just hit him, because that's part of the reason that we ended up going negative. But we had, I mean, what else can you do, because we can't afford to pay for them out of pocket. So yeah, it gets very stressful, and it's hard because the kids, you know, our boys work, they have to buy their own cell phone, you know, they pay for their own cell phones, and they, you know, if they want any kind of, like whatever, you know, those things the kids use, Netflix, they pay for that. They pay for a lot of their own stuff. We just can't afford it. And you feel bad sometimes because, and again, I don't want, because I want people to know I'm not asking for pity. I'm just stating the facts, and we are blessed. But like Joseph has needed new shoes. He's got a hole in his shoes, and he has problems. We have to get special shoes for him because of his back and knee and orthopedic problems and stuff. And so, you know, you feel bad because it's just every paycheck, it's like, okay, well, we don't have enough. We're trying to save, but you know that. Or, you know, they want to do simple things like baseball. Or Sean paid for his own robotics, which is something as a homeschooler I feel like we should be paying for him to be able to do robotics. But he paid for his own robotics. So we're blessed that they have gotten jobs and that they have money that they can help pay for some of the stuff that they want to do. But as parents, it's an issue too, because, you know, sometimes I'll want to do something for the kids and Chris will say, no, we can't do that. And I'm like, but you know, so yeah, it's a lot of tension. Mm-hmm. It's so hard because, like I said, the government is not fiscally responsible. They have $17 trillion in debt. I hate debt. In 2009, we had all of our credit cards were paid off. We had, you know, and so this for us, we've kind of got this, like you were talking about the stress of the finances. It makes my husband and I sick that we have credit card debt, because that's not the kind of people that we are. We like to live within our means, you know, pay cash. Like I said, we're so funny. This chair Grandma gave us, the coffee table Grandma gave us, the sofa. I mean, and we bought that at a secondhand store because we're just, I mean, we only buy used cars. We have no car payments, and we've not. Can you believe this? We've been married 21 years. Is it 21? So yeah, over 21 years. We've never had a car payment, and we qualify for nothing. Nothing. I mean, that's the next question that people always ask. They're like, oh, you don't qualify for payment. We qualify for nothing. If my husband made less money, we might. If we had no insurance, that medication that would be a $708 medication, the drug company could give it to us at no cost to us. We know it costs somebody somewhere. That's why I would say no cost to us. They would just give it to us if you had no insurance. I have called the company as it kept going up. I'd call them every so many months just saying, is there anything you can do? I mean, can you just take what our insurance pays, give us a break? I mean, we'll pay you. You know, I mean, the government does not allow that. Shocking, right? The government does not allow them to help just anyone because there are government regulations that say these drug companies can only help these people or these people. To me, that is also shocking. And like I said, so they make exceptions for people who make less money, but they don't care how many medical bills you have. That doesn't ever come into play. And I've done that with several of their medications that they take, and all the drug programs are pretty much the same. And that it blows me away because I don't know how people can say, oh, well, they don't get their meds. They can't get their medications. I'm like, how does that work? I call and they tell you, if you have no insurance, here it is, no cost to you.
A lot of the people who were supporting implementing Obamacare, passing it, you would hear testimonies, House floor of, they would bring people in to say, hey, I have this illness and I'm not covered, so, this is my situation. And have you spoken to anybody who supports Obamacare and told them, well, what about me now, my children?
Oh, absolutely. I talked to Kay Hagan's office. I have them on speed dial. And the funny, they never know what to say.
My children will suffer because of this health care bill. But you won't have me on the floor of the Senate. You won't take my phone calls. You won't listen. I have 2 chronically ill children.
I'm listening
in
to you
14,
right now.
yeah, exactly, for the first time.
I actually called one day because I was so upset. They sent me a letter from Kay Hagan's office stating, and I have it on my blog, that, oh, Obamacare is helping so many people with their prescriptions, blah, blah, blah. And it was a bad day, and I picked up the phone and I said, how dare you send this to me when I have been in your office? And really, it just gets down to, they don't care. They don't.
You can get insurance because I have 2 children that have a genetic bone marrow failure syndrome and secondary mitochondrial disease, and not once in their lives have they been without insurance. Okay, HIPAA covers you for certain things, and there are companies that do cover pre-existing conditions, and unfortunately, because of this health care bill, companies like AT&T has cut benefits because of the high taxes.
And that's what blows my mind, is the fact that they've destroyed the 85% of the people who liked their plans, wanted to keep their plans, liked their doctors, wanted to keep their doctors, all for these people they're still not insured.
Because I will sell everything I own to pay for my children, because this is America. It doesn't mean you're going to have a mansion.
There are so many people who don't have the ability.
People have been infuriated with me because I continually say that it is immoral to steal money from my family to give people free stuff. It's immoral to push my family further and further into debt so that other people can benefit.
Okay, we live in the hospital. We don't want this. I run a nonprofit and I work with people who can't get health care in Canada, can't get health care in England, can't even get injections of Neupogen, which could save their lives because they say it's too expensive. And that is what's going to happen with my children. In fact, there's an infusion, the infusion section. Do you know about the infusion section of the health care bill? Then why are you setting up a committee that's going to decide what infusions people can and cannot get? My children get life-saving blood products. IgG, which is made from plasma.
Live in our country.
Oh, I am blessed, and I want to pay for it. I don't want free health care.
They don't care. Or it's ideology, too. Because I think, like with Nancy Pelosi, it's ideology. Because they want to get us to a one-payer system. They don't care what they have to do. They don't care who dies in the process. Do you know what I mean? They're going to ram this down our throats no matter what. And like I said many years ago when I confronted Kay Hagan and then on subsequent interviews, people are saying, oh, this is insurance reform. It's not government-controlled health care. No, it's government-controlled health care. when the government tells you what type of insurance you have to have, what coverage you have to have, what is and is not covered in those plans, that is government-controlled health care. So, you know, now we have men who have to have maternity care. We have to have, you know, I mean, and it doesn't make sense. It's a one-size-fits-all. And as Americans who believe in individual liberty, we shouldn't have a one-size-fits-all. We should be able to choose the plan that we want.
Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the I guess, differences that it has made in your life in just the last few years, from, you know, just your day-to-day living with
Obamacare
costs?
Oh gosh. I mean, well, it's been, for the first time this week, if I get emotional or something, so for the first time this week, Joseph needed another antibiotic. And you get to that point where we didn't have $25 in the bank to go and get the antibiotics. So we're calling to see, is there a credit card that we have $25 left to credit on? Because most of them are maxed out. So to me, that's a huge difference, because not that we never worried about money, but I never thought there would ever come a time that I couldn't afford. Do you know what I mean? That you couldn't afford a copay. So Monday morning, I wanted to go to Mass. And I thought, no, you can't go to Mass because you only have half a tank of gas and you have no money in the bank. My bank account had $1.24. And again, it's not like, because I think about the Christians being slaughtered in Iraq, and, you know, so this pales in comparison to that. But you just don't ever think that you'd have, as an American working class family, you don't think that you're going to say, oh, well, I'd like to go to Mass, but I can't because we have the gas. And it didn't used to be like that. I mean, you know, we lived paycheck to paycheck somewhat, but it was not like this.
You're talking about living paycheck to paycheck, being able to afford medications and things. That really is the difference between life
absolutely.
and death.
No, it is. It really is. I mean, again, like I said, when I feel guilty, I went to get my hair cut last week. At this point, I didn't even, my husband's like, oh yeah, because we talk about him, and he's like, sure, get your hair cut, it's not a problem. Well, then this week we find out, and then I'm like, well, my gosh, if I hadn't got my hair cut, I could have done, you know, and you just end up feeling guilty about a whole lot. Because, I mean, we have a house, we're paying on it. I mean, you know, we refinanced to try and help a little bit. I mean, I feel like we're always robbing Peter to pay Paul, because we don't get anywhere with equity. We don't get it because we refinance to help us here, and you try, you know, I mean, it's just, but really it is, it becomes, you start feeling guilty, like I said, for even having internet. Well, my kids, we homeschool, we use Seton, they upload their work through the internet. I feel guilty that I feel like we should just sell everything, but then we could sell everything and it would get us, what, a month? You know what I mean? I mean, it changes your life in that way, because you feel guilty all the time about everything. Mm-hmm. Because we believe in individual liberty, working hard. I mean, that's the American dream. You're supposed to work hard and then you succeed. Well, I feel like we work hard and we're penalized. My husband just got a raise. We don't see it because more taxes. I mean, you know, and I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because we're blessed that we are able to get by, because there are people that are worse off, and I understand that. It's just, to me, it's just shocking that it's really come to this, that you get to the point where, I mean, just these things I guess we took for granted, that you would be able to just go get gas and put it in your car, or, you know, whatever. So,
or yeah, get an antibiotic if something comes up.
I mean, and that's really where I start to get. That really hit me hard this week, because I was thinking, wow. I mean, I think this was the first time this week that I realized Obamacare has truly destroyed my family. I cannot just go to the store. I don't have credit enough. I can't just go and buy the antibiotic that he needs. And I think that really hit me hard this week. I don't know. It really did, because I thought, wow, this is, I mean, I don't know how but you know, I just thought, wow, how does this happen in America? I mean, how does it happen in America? I hope that we can take this country back, because even with their illnesses, I've told them, and they pay, like I said, they pay for their own cell phones, they pay for their gas. If they're the ones that are driving, pay for their own gas and insurance. My oldest son bought his own car. Because we've taught them, even with your illnesses, America is so great, so wonderful. The opportunity is there for everyone. If you work hard, you can succeed. and you can overcome any obstacles, because we all have crosses to bear. We all have crosses to bear, but that's what's so wonderful about America is everyone has the opportunity to succeed. And if you have a health problem like my kids do, you find what works for you. You find a job that works for you, because America doesn't, America, to me, I say, America doesn't tell you no. America allows you to take your natural abilities and go out and do something with them. You know, you overcome your weaknesses, and I think that's basically, I think that defines our family, is the fact that we don't allow their diseases to define who and what they are. It's so essential that they understand America's founding, because I really think America's founding, everyone can succeed if you work hard. I don't know if that's going to be true though in the future.
Too young to fall for a light I think I see, can't say for sure. The plants have died, my hair has grown from the thought of you coming home. 'Cause it ain't easier waking up at dawn to find I lost my crown. If I found you there with flowers in your hair, I'd hold you